want to say that I am so grateful. So many of you from around the world wanted to come to my very first Zoom experiment. It is so wonderful being able to try this out. And Theo Simonov is in Bulgaria, and he is the one who has been helping me with this. And he's recording it, and he set it up. But I have been practicing. So some of you might have our newsletter, and that's how you've heard about it. It's called Spiritual Transformation News, and you can get it on our International Institute for Transformation website, which is www.iitransform.com. And it's now in German and in English. And some of you know from going to Facebook about this, some maybe from my YouTubes, because I've been doing messages of hope. And last week in the Messages for Hope, I talked about out of our comfort zone. And I said that all of us right now are out of our comfort zone. We are all in the same situation around the world. We're in lockdown, some of us in forced lockdown where we're in police states, and if we go out without a mask and gloves, as it is in Bulgaria, Theo was telling me, then we could even be arrested. And some of us in Canada, we're very law-abiding, so they only request that we take precautions when we go out. And this has been going on for a month. Now, I don't want to talk about the coronavirus. That's not what this talk is about. It is about giving us time to think about what our priorities are in life. And that is so very important. And we don't give ourselves time to really consider in our day-to-day life when we're going to restaurants and going to meetings and going to work. And we don't really think about this deeply. And now we have to, in this great pause, this great long pause we are in. I'm actually calling it a blessing because these times are times for contemplation and reflection about what really matters in our life. And whether we are in our 20s and in our 50s and in our 70s really is unimportant. The important thing is that we are alive, and every day we have a choice about what we want to do or not do. And so rather than just reorganizing filing systems or cleaning cutlery or doing the housework or more time in the garden, although these things are important in moderation, let's look at paying attention to what we feel our destiny is in life. What do you feel you have been called to do and be in life? And really, it is about being. It's not about doing. Because if we are our authentic selves, being who we really are without roles, without facades, without being culturally indoctrinated and saying, well, my parents did it this way, I have to too, or I won't only be successful if I do this. These are kind of the cultural indoctrinations we have, or with religion or our nation, what our nation regards as the laws to abide by. So we have to let go of all of this. This has nothing to do with you. You are all safe. You are safe. And by that, I don't mean that you're necessarily safe from getting ill. Who can tell this? None of us can tell this. But what I mean is that you are safe because the divine, the creator, by whatever name you want to call the supreme force that's put us here, knows we're safe to be here on the earth at this time. And that it is the perfect time for us to manifest whatever gifts and talents and even genius that we have. So we need to look at stripping away these conditionings and looking at what is that? And you may think, well, I can't see the big picture. Well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What is the little picture now? Because if we do enough of the little pictures of where we are resisting and being afraid, then ultimately we get the big picture. So, for example, today I'm doing a Zoom call. And as I announced last week in my messages of hope on the video, I am technologically not very good. And really that is an understatement. And I have had bad past experiences with being a failure in these areas as well. So one could say that I have some reluctance to embark on new technologies. And because I'm resistant to do it is exactly why I need to do it. And it's because part of my destiny and calling is to be with people. And I was supposed to be in Europe teaching for 6 weeks. We were going to Iceland and Holland and Germany and Switzerland this year. And I cannot do it. And so if I feel part of my destiny is to be with people and to communicate with them and to listen to what you have to say, because I'm going to be listening to you. This is not just going to be about me. Then how can I do it? I need to use the social mediums that are present in our world right now. And so you need to ask yourself these questions too. What do you feel called to do? And where is the barrier that is stopping you? What is the fear that is stopping you from taking that next step? And then that's what we have to do. We have to take that next step. And the worst that could happen here, after I made the announcement, I didn't know if anybody was going to help me, really, because no one can come and visit me to help me. But all of a sudden, 2 people showed up. Christoph Wasser in Germany said he'd help me, and Theo Simonov in Bulgaria said they'd help me. And so we've had 2 practice calls now where I could just even go on a Zoom call, because I hadn't even gone on a Zoom call other than one thing as a participant. So it familiarized me with what this would even look like. So what I'm going to do is, that's enough on me right now. And we're going to have a section now where you can ask questions. And I'm going to sort of ask you to do one question at a time, please, or they're going to scroll by, and then I won't be able to see what the next question is, and I'll miss it. I don't want to do that. So you're going to have a chance to make comments and ask questions, and I will try to answer some of them when we get to the question part. And then we're going to end our Zoom call today with a meditation for us all. And I haven't prescribed anything today. I haven't rehearsed anything today. I wanted this just to be between you and I, so that we can be like in a living room together, visiting. So the first thing I'd like you to put up in the chat box, and it's off to the right for people who don't know how to do it, and you can push the button at the bottom for chat in case you haven't got a bar over to the right. I know you probably all know how to do this, but I had to be shown. And so the first thing I'd like to ask is, I'd like you to just put up one after another as it occurs to you what you feel you're being called to do next, be it small or great. Do not judge yourself. Like the Zoom might look like a little thing to people, but for me, it's a big thing. So it's not about quantity, it is about the next thing that's being called for you. So just scroll, please. Go ahead and scroll. And I want to see all the things, and I think everybody can see what's scrolling by. Retire. Well done, Janet. Okay. Keep going, folks. You can put up as many as you want because they're not scrolling fast. When we get to the questions, we'll have to go slower. So go ahead. Help the earth. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, we all want to do that. And we can do that when we retire. Go ahead. I'm looking. Benedict, meditate. Well, that is very important. And remember that you can meditate even when you are walking in nature. It isn't always that you have to just sit down. Valentina, engage with nature. Rachel, help lost souls. Okay. Listen to others who want to share. How to get in contact with our grandchildren? Well, you can on Zoom. Try it. Finding myself more innerly and write my master finally. Yes, Philip. Whoever your master is, do so. Do so. Aloha from Nadine to everyone. Sort out the questions in my head. Yes. Just go with your top one, Nadine. Christoph, bring farmers and consumers together. And you're already doing it, Christoph. Eugenia, helping and healing animals. Beautiful. And Marielle is balance your life financially. Yes. Yes. Don't worry about that too much. I know that must sound strange to you, but sometimes people feel that they have to balance their lives financially, and money is just frozen energy. So just look at the main reason it's not balanced now. Okay, two, however you pronounce, play music. Oh, I'd love to hear that. Encourage young leaders. Donna, bring spirituality into the mainstream. Yes, and Grazia, heal nature. Tricia Bursma, be an example of practicing graded edge. The graded edge. I like that one. Getting used to teaching in a very unnatural situation with masks. Ooh, more contact and living from my heart. And that answers that last question about masks. If you're in your heart, people don't care that you have your mask on. Sarah, live freely, free from old stories. You may want to take my e-course on ancestral healing. I recommend that, Sarah. You can get it on my website. Katerina, become healthy. You live in a healthy place, Katerina. You eat healthy food, you have a healthy garden, and you have a healthy relationship. Those are keys. Victor Chu, give money to those who need it more. Start by doing it now. Play Mary, start some sort of in-home business with coaching and or spiritual readings. You probably need Theo to help you with the Zoom stuff. And Peen, continue writing. Yes, Peen, for sure, for sure. And connect to the source. Yes. That it comes back to our thing about meditating, connecting with the source. And the source is in everything. It's in nature. It's going for walks, even if you can't go to parks right now and you live in a city. You can see that it's spring coming up everywhere, and you can look at a tree, you can look at a flower and say, this is source. And everybody is source. Every human being is source. Everybody that we have on our Zoom conference today is source. It's God in us. It's God in nature. Writing a book, Mary, do so. Start on the first chapter and write about something you love and something you know. And Anna, open to nature communication and rekindle my creativity and love of art and nature is inspiration. And once again, it's just going out and loving nature and talking to a flower. And if you think that flower's not talking back, or the tree isn't talking back to you, it is. It is talking back to you. It just doesn't use words, but it is talking back to you. And all the beings who create it are there. And you just have to love, and you will hear. That's it. Mikel and Martina, we're currently trying to get an initial understanding of Rudolf Steiner's main book. Whoa. Oh, yes, I know. It's not easy with Rudolf Steiner. And his main book could be on the higher purpose. I can't remember exactly the title, but yes, it's very difficult, Rudolf Steiner. Stay with it. If you're feeling called, stay with it. Some books now I feel, I'm not going to agonize about this. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to do something that wants to actually come into me rather than trying to go out and embrace something that's so difficult. I know that might sound crazy, but that's where I'm at with it. Writing a book on giftedness and their hidden problems. That's nice, Bruce. And Sue Bin, have a chat with plants. Wow. Okay. I'm seeing, so I'm not going to talk anymore about this. This is wonderful to see what people are putting down that they want to do. And when I look at your list, it has to do with writing a book. Well, if you feel called, you should do it. And don't get put off. I'm just going to focus on that one for a second, and we'll go through some of the main themes if that's okay with you. So writing a book, there were 3 or 4 people who had something like that came out there. Or creating a course, whether it's writing a book or creating a course, it's the same thing. And that is, what do you wish to communicate? So what you have to start with is it something that you are actually an expert in? Don't try to communicate something that you are not an expert in, because no one will be interested. That is more like writing an autobiography and a journal of what your questions are and hoping the divine will answer you. So start with, well, what do I do well? What do others comment on? What do they always ask me about? What do they ask me to help them with? And if that's the case, you are an expert. It could be on anything. It could be on cooking. It could be on gardening. It could be on being a good friend, but you are an expert. That is your talent. That is your gift. That's where you write the book. The second thing is, don't get hung up about how will I sell it? How many people will buy it? Who cares? If you feel you have something to contribute and it's something you have a passion about and you'd love to do it with joy. Do it with joy. And if it never sells, if you have to put it on Amazon, I've been publishing my own books now for 5 or 6 years because I had a very bad experience with a publisher who didn't pay me royalties. Naughty, bad karma. Anyway, so anyway, and if I put them up on Amazon and people are buying them, which is really interesting. But I don't know how many I've sold. I have no idea. Some people buy them. They enjoy them. I enjoyed writing them. So that's on writing. See, keep it simple, folks. Keep it simple. And somebody else is talking about connecting with nature. Well, do you see those flowers right behind me on the left-hand side? Well, they're on my side, they're on the left-hand side. I don't know where they are on your screen. But anyway, those are from my garden. And every week when I've been doing Messages of Hope, I've been taking another little gift of flowers from a different plant that said, yes, I'll come to your video. And I've been bringing those flowers in. So I am lucky. I have a beautiful property, Diamond Heart, where we have retreat centers. Here we have retreats where people can swim in the ocean. I'm on the ocean, so I've got a large property to garden. And that's a way for me to connect to nature, is to go out for a few hours every day and weed. We've got to get rid of those weeds and transplant and do all these things. But for those of you who don't have a garden, how do you connect with nature? You can't go to parks. Then you just walk the streets, walk it at a time when you don't think a lot of people are going to be out, where you can have private time and stop and touch trees, look at trees, look at bushes, pay attention to beauty. Pay attention to the sunrise and the sunset. This is when the yogis always meditated, because this is when the gates of the spiritual realms and our realm are the most open. So that's why we love sunrises and sunsets. So pay attention to them and stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing to pay attention to nature. And to realize that humans and animals are also, and I saw a few of you said you wanted to work with animals, they are nature too. We are nature. So it's loving everything that is alive. This is what nature is, loving everything that is alive. And if you're wanting to help the earth, you start in what you have been given to do. If you have a large garden, you have been given to do that. If you don't and you live in an apartment, then you find a way in your community to do it, or donate money. Some people were talking about, how do I give money? Donate money to environmental causes, people that are trying to save the environment and the earth. Sign petitions, start petitions, do what you're called to do, gather garbage in your neighborhood. I know I'm talking things that you already know, but the reason I'm mentioning it is because we say, oh, I already know that, right? But are we doing it? Are we doing it? So it's not that you have to have a list of 10 things that you need to do in a day. No. If you want to get in contact with nature, for example, or write a book, for example, do one thing towards it every day. Put time aside for that thing that you want every day. Too often we spend time doing C priorities, D priorities, and forget about the A priority, the one we feel called to do. That seems like the overwhelming A priority. And so we don't start it because it's so overwhelming. But if we start every day with just a piece of that overwhelming priority, it gathers its own momentum. Every time I write a book, I think, oh my God, not another book. Here I go for the next 2 years. And where will it go? It takes its own life. Books that I start never end up anywhere near what I thought it would even be about. Maybe the main theme is the same, but how it is written, the voice I use, the examples, this all comes from the book. So allow yourself to listen deeply to what spirit is telling you, whether it's the garden or the book or the person who asked about meditation, how to meditate. Well, I am doing less sitting right now meditating, and I'm doing more meditating in the moment, in the moment. Like right this moment with you is a kind of meditation. There's many kinds of yoga. There's jnana yoga, which is wisdom yoga. It's intellectual. It's giving information and data. There's bhakti yoga. It's all about the heart and love. There's karma yoga. And karma yoga is doing yoga. And I am practicing doing yoga. It's a kind of meditation. And so I'm not making things up for myself to do. It's things that I am answering the call to do. So if you feel you're being called to do anything, that is what you need to do. So now, that's all I wanted to say on that. I have nothing else to say. I'm wondering if there are any questions that are pressing for you. If there are, I am happy to answer them. So I'm just going to be quiet for a moment while you think about something that is pressing for you. And I'll do my best. And then after I've answered your pressing questions, then we're going to have our meditation. And I'm going to try to put on some music for you, which will be another challenge, so that we can meditate with music. So, okay, get that chat box going. What do you suggest if I don't know what it is I want to do? Well, good grief. Start small. I remember when I came back from Europe, and some of you have read my book, Summer with the Leprechauns, about living in the haunted cottage with Lloyd the leprechaun and how I wanted to become enlightened. Well, here I am 35 years later, and I'm still not enlightened. And so I was a failure, and I had no other goal in my life. I was, 30 years old, 32 years old. And so I came back to Canada without any goal. And I went to see a Buddhist monk friend of mine, Zazep Tulku Rinpoche, and I said, I have no goals anymore. And he said, just start small with something you love. And I thought, well, I love people and I love travel and I love going to sacred sites. I'll take people on a tour to sacred sites. I thought that would be a one-off. We went to Ireland and then I did it. It was so much fun. I ended up doing it for 22 years. And this last year, after not having done it for a decade, we were going to go to Iceland before the coronavirus. So you just say, what is something, just any little thing, and start small. So that's to Anna. And Janet, you mentioned the things that hold us back, the things we resist. Yeah, thank you. That's to Anna. We have a fear of failing, folks. We have a fear of rejection. We have a fear of the unknown. And life is about daring to be fearless. And the more that we embrace our fears and just step forward and do it with humor, with good humor, with an open heart, with an open mind, then everything turns out just fine. Now, Donna, just a question. Are there people who are actually feeling in their comfort zone with staying home and enjoying the consideration people are showing? People living more in their hearts. Wow. I think so. I think so. And because we all in the world are in this together. We've forgotten about having wars more or less during this period. Isn't it lovely to forget about that? And I know that our economies or countries' economies are suffering, and that many people are suffering financially because they are not able to work or and they don't have savings. So I do know that. but but I think what we're finding out is that being kind, being generous, being compassionate, being understanding and a good listener to others is more important than anything else. And having a good sense of humor, I have to say. We're all trying out new behaviors, and it's a level playing field for all of us. A level playing field. Isn't that nice? Whether we're rich or we're poor, whether we're young or we're old, we all are at the same level with this virus. So it's good. So, oh, good. I'm glad, Barrett, you're working on your book and storytelling. Truce wants to know if Lloyd and his folks, the elementals, have a special message for us. Well, I think I'm saying it. I have been saying it. I will talk about what the earth is doing and saying for a moment. The earth is giving us some strong feedback. It's been giving us feedback for the last decade around global warming and what we're doing to our environment by cutting down our old growth forests, by not reducing our carbon emissions. It's been for a decade giving us warnings, and we have failed to listen to them. So the earth has now stepped up with the coronavirus. Yay, earth, as I said in my messages for hope last week. Because I think that the earth is in tune with spirit. There's nothing wrong with the earth. The earth will survive. The earth will survive because it is in tune with spirit. And it is knocking us on the heads, trying to get through to us and saying, wake up, folks. Get yourself aligned to the natural spiritual rhythms. And that's what Lloyd and his folks would say, because elementals are in tune with nature, which is the same as being in tune with spirit. So this is not complex, folks. It's not complex. It's simple, very simple. We get feedback from our environment all the time. If we plant something and it looks like it needs water, you water it. If it looks like it's dying, you say, what, is it getting enough sun, or am I overwatering it? You ask the simple question. So this is what Lloyd and the earth is saying to us. And how can we handle financial uncertainty? This is Valentina. Well, ultimately it is, do you have enough food? Do you have shelter? If you have food and shelter, you have enough. Valentina, I'm really serious about that. If you have food and you have shelter, you have enough. So why worry about that right now? That is all you need, all you need. Regardless of your age, regardless of anything else, of what you think are your gifts for teaching or sharing in the world, you have enough. Spirit will look after the rest. There is a Buddha called the begging bowl Buddha. And it is a way in India and in China, a certain spiritual discipline where you only have a bowl and you are only eating whatever people will give you when you go out once a day and they put some food in your bowl. So let us pretend we are begging bowl Buddhas and make it simple. Spirit will give us what we need. For those people who do not have a lot of money, you may be rich in friends, and friends will not let you starve. There are ways that we are rich, and in those ways, abundance will flow to us and we will be looked after. Trust it. Really deeply trust. Okay. We'll do one last question and then we will do a meditation. Well, Tricia says it's lovely sharing a positive energy. So that was the question, so I could go on with Philip. Okay, we're just going to look at Philip, what Philip's saying. In your New Year's speech last December, oh, this is quite a long one, I'm having to read it. When you said that we're not able to step forward this year, hold on, don't go any further, because the other side will be standing there and we shall just look at it and don't fall down. Did you eventually mean the situation now? And also my feeling is that there is a lot of bad will in this perhaps, and also so much fear, which is kind of too much, and all these measures are too much. It's a kind of dictatorial and fascist a bit. Okay. Remember, the earth and spirit has chosen certain people as tools to practice certain behaviors. So if you're living in a country where you think it's a bit fascist, don't blame the people who are running the country. Think, Spirit had me born in this country. Spirit had me live in this country. Maybe you weren't born there and you moved there voluntarily, not because you were born there. Doesn't matter. Whether you were born there, you moved there, you're there at this time. So whatever place your environment is perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect for you to learn the lesson, Philip. And this is the same for all of us. You know, if you're separated from your children, you're separated from your partner, your spouse, because they're in a different place and they can't fly back, this is perfect. So don't blame the country. Don't blame certain leaders of the country. Just think, this is my karma. It's not just about us. After we have transmuted our own karma, then we have to help our family, our birth family, transmute theirs. And that's why the ancestral e-course is good. And for people with a lot of fears, I really recommend our e-course called Fear Transformed, which you can get on my website, www.iitransform.com. So I recommend those things. But it's after we finish with our own karma and the karma of our family, by forgiving them, forgiving ourselves, forgiving them, then we move on to the collective karma of humanity. And this is we're spiritual people, my dear friends, we're all spiritual people. And this is our destiny. This is what we're called really to do. To give ourselves in service, whether we're sitting in our room here, whether we're meditating, whatever we're doing, whether we're front lines, working in the hospitals, we are meant to give ourselves in service to others and help transmute the collective karma of humanity. This is all about forgiveness of our leaders, if we don't agree with them, of our country and our country's past history, of our religion and perhaps our religion's mixed history, our family, ourselves, and through forgiveness, we are open. There's nothing to barricade ourselves against anymore. We don't have to defend ourselves. We're just there. We are there, fully present. That's all we're called to do. And as we're doing this, whether we're sitting in our homes, our frequency is changed. This frequency goes out past our walls. It goes out past our country. It joins the collective consciousness of all humanity. And we are a drop, we are a cell in that. And the higher our love, the higher our frequency, the more we are able to help with the transformation of the collective karma of others. So that is how we do it, Philip. It's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking, and so that I could answer it, because this is something we all need to listen to. So it's time for us to say goodbye. And so it's been lovely being with you today, and I'll do some more messages of hope. I don't know exactly what day ever or what topic ever, but when I feel called. And mahalo to everyone. And I wish you well on your continual journey. And perhaps we can do another Zoom when you wish it and I wish it. And thank you so much again for coming today, and thank you to Theo for helping do this with me. I really appreciate it, Theo, in Bulgaria. Okay, blessings, blessings, dear friends.